Morning. Let me just tell you right up front what this video is about so you understand. This is a fall checklist. It's the transition from summertime into fall. I'm going to cover a bunch of different subjects, so let me just sort of outline it for you. I'm going to go over the announcement of the new PGF Balance, which is a 10-10-10. I'll go over that. I'm going to go over the actual checklist. I'm going to take you out. We'll actually put some of this balance on the front, which I scalped, and my lawn's always low on phosphorus, so that's why I'm putting down some of the balance. We're cutting the front, and I'll just give you a general overview at the end of all the lawns and where they stand because they really look good. So hold on. Hey guys, so fall checklist. We're at the end of summer, we're going into fall, and there's some real critical things that you're going to want to do, but I have two very important announcements to make. First of all, make sure you click subscribe, because I can't reveal the second announcement until probably about 4 weeks from now. So of course there's one link in the description below, and that'll take you to all the products that I'm talking about. It'll take you to the fall checklist that I'll put on there. The Bermuda lawn guide is on there, and I want to make sure that you sign up for our email list. We don't do marketing through the email list, but you get notified when we do new posts, because sometimes YouTube doesn't notify you properly, so you want to be on that list. Okay, so let's start with the big first announcement. For months I've been working with Anderson saying, look, I keep telling a lot of people to put down a 10-10-10 in the spring because we don't want a whole bunch of nitrogen. The same thing is true on the fall. When the cooler temperatures move in, we don't want to push a whole bunch of energy and nitrogen, but we want to put down a balanced fertilizer, a 10-10-10. So I went to Anderson's and they finally created what I want. If you go buy 10-10-10 at Lowe's or Home Depot, it's this big, chunky, nasty crap. And you get no particle distribution whatsoever. And that's the biggest problem with it. When you put it out, you get one particle every 3 inches. So I went to Anderson's and I said, I want you to develop me a 10-10-10 with micronutrients, with 2% iron, that is, the particle size is so small that it looks like sugar. And guess what? We've got it. I'm going to open up the first bag from their laboratory that they sent, and probably the first week of September we'll have it available up on Amazon. So that's big. It's beautiful stuff. You can even use it on a golf green if you wanted to. That's how small the particle size is. Okay, so I'm looking for a quiet, shady spot, and I really don't have one. Jess is over there cutting Barbed Lawn. There is something I forgot to mention about the PGF Balance, and that is that it's all quick release. Why is that important? Because we don't want to put down a fertilizer. One of the stupidest things to do is to put down, when temperatures start to drop in the fall, is to put down a fertilizer that's going to be sitting there and feeding for 8 to 12 weeks. Don't do it. So the last fertilizer you should put down in the fall should be an all quick release, no slow release. You should put down a quick release once your temperatures drop into the 70s and 80s. Put down a quick release, put down your 10-10-10, low nitrogen. Your lawn will gently go to sleep. So I forgot to mention that, and that's really important. The rest of the year we want slow release fertilizers. Okay, I'm going to read off this sheet. Basically, everything that's on this sheet is going to be in the description. There's a link below. But let's cover what you need to think about for the fall. Number one, I want you to be prepared for armyworms, sodworms, grubs, and beetles. I'll take you over and I'll show you Barbed Lawn here in a minute, but it was infested with African black beetles. We were pulling up hundreds and hundreds of them after we put out the double kill product. And that's the beetle that creates those white grubs that you see in your lawn. This time of year, if you put down your double kill product, you're going to kill everything that's on the tops, you're going to kill armyworms, and you're going to kill your grubs. Once you get a heavy rain, it'll go down and kill your grubs. So order your double kill in the description below and put it out. And if you have grub damage, put it out at the heaviest rate that the bag says you can. Put it out heavy. A lot of people don't understand armyworms, and they don't even know that they have them, but they start in a little area and they move across your lawn, and your lawn just starts to thin out. And I guarantee you, if you're not aware of them, you probably have armyworms at this time of the year, or you're going to have them over the next 4 to 6 weeks. It's that time of year. So we want to watch out for bugs. PGF Complete, you will still be putting down PGF Complete fertilizer about every 3 weeks, a nice light coat. Every 3 to 4 weeks, put one out while your temperatures are in the 90s and the 80s. Once they start to drop and you start to have like low 80s and into the 70s, that's when you want to stop. Stop putting out your PGF Complete. Put out a coat of the new PGF Balance. Pre-emergent. I always say that if you don't have weeds in your lawn right now, hold off on your pre-emergent. Hold off until you get the cold weather that's coming in, because that means that your lawn is thick enough that the weeds aren't having a chance to populate, and you want to wait till your lawn gets weak, then you put down your pre-emergent. If you have a lot of weeds, go ahead. I'll put a link to the pre-emergent. It's a granular. Put it down now. Humichar. We want to keep putting Humichar out. We're doing Humichar applications every single month. And you got to get your Humichar out now. I really want you to keep putting it down during the growing season. Remember, Humichar has no nutrients. It can be put out anytime. It can be put out with anything. It's improving our soil and it's adding carbon, which allows us to use less fertilizer. That's the goal. This lawn is so thick. It's had PGF Complete and it's had Humichar. It's amazing how thick it is. I mean, it's insane. So that's basically what we want to keep in mind for the fall. Remember, your Bermuda grass is going to keep growing and keep growing all the way through the 90s. We have this 90s weather, and in Georgia, we're here in Georgia, we're going to have 90s all the way into August, September, possibly even October. October, we'll start to probably see the 80s, and then in November, we're going to start to see the 70s. So once we start to hit the low 80s and high 70s, that's when we're going to stop with that long-term slow release. We're going to put out a coat of PGF Balance. That's what we'll put out. Everyone should put out a coat of that. It's going to be great. Okay, so I'm going to take you out. I'm going to show you the PGF Balance. We'll put out the first ever application of that. The Good Witch, Jess is here doing some cutting on the Scalp Lawn. I'll show you the scalp. It's starting to grow up. I'll show you Barbed Lawn, how it's recovering from all the damage that it has. Just a few other things. So hold on. So while I'm walking out to the front, I want to stop here and show you something pretty funny. Now, if you know our vegetable garden over here, every year we lose our first crop of tomatoes for disease. It's just a cycle this little area goes through. So these tomato plants got up to like 8 feet tall. We pulled 110 pounds of tomatoes out of 2 little rows. I went to Walmart 4 weeks ago and I bought their clearance. They were going to throw them away, these $2 a plant. They were 8 inches tall. If you watch my videos, I want to show you what it looks like. We put them in this Humichar compost soil. And look at them now. Remember, these things were 8 inches tall when we planted them about 4 weeks ago. Look how beautiful they are. I mean, they are just absolutely gorgeous. Now this plant is right at 4 feet tall, but that is absolutely gorgeous. That is amazing right there. Okay, so this is the first cut since the scalp. Jess is out here cutting it. I may even go a little bit lower, but for now it's fine. Say that's about 3/4 of an inch. That's about as low as that thing can cut. That's the GR series from McLean that I'm using. I'm not using the Greenskeeper out here. So that's about it right there. Just to give you an idea. The yard is just so horribly bumpy and undulating. We may just have to keep it there. I was going to take it down to half, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. Okay, so here's the very first ever PGF Balance. It's even in a special laboratory bag. But here's the important note. Watch how small. I want you to see how small my openings are. I mean, they're just over 1/8 of an inch. And that's how I'm going to apply it. So she's over there cutting barbs. Let me show you this PGF Balance. See how small it is? It's one of the smallest particles I've ever seen. Tiny. Again, this is a 10-10-10 with iron and micros. And normally when you look at a 10-10-10, it looks like a bunch of big rocks. Man, I gotta say, Barbed Lawn is looking really good right now. In case you're wondering, that little spot right there was a huge natural area about 2 years ago. So there's a bunch of root systems, but that looks really good. So last week we came out here to the front and we did a total scalp down to dirt basically. It was solid brown. And the reason why I did that is because my grass had gotten too high and I just wanted to take it down and I want to start cutting this really short out front. So we put down a little bit of PGF Complete. My lawn is low in phosphorus and that's why I like to put down the Balance. Put out some Balance, got lots of rain last night and it's starting to green up. Probably about another week and it'll be solid green, but I want to keep it shorter. So here's the Scalp Lawn after a week. Starting to turn green. But I really want to show you Barb's lawn because I think that's one of the most impressive. The test patch too. So if you remember, Barb's lawn was infested with grubs, black beetles, a little bit of fungus. Look at it now. Look how stunning this looks. Now this is just, in a matter of 2 weeks we've transformed this. We've been reel cutting it, PGF Complete, Humichar, the bug killer, put it all down, just dumped all those treatments down, and now we've been cutting it, get some rain, and it is gorgeous. If you've been following our videos, you should say, wow. Now I'm going to take you and show you the test patch over here. Now this is going to be cut today, and even though this has got PGF Complete, Humichar, and Growth Regulator, and even though it's wet, we can come out here with the McLeans and we can cut this. And it is, look at that, it is absolutely gorgeous. So I think what I'm gonna do at the front is I'm gonna get one of my Greenskeeper reel mowers, not the regular GR series. And I'm gonna drop it down and I'm gonna try and cut this at 1/2 inch and try and keep it about 1/2 inch. It's just so rough and hilly and bumpy in here. We'll see what happens. We'll see how this works out. Man, that thing sounds like it's dying. Let me explain. That's a 10 blade reel mower and it's cutting 1/2 inch, super thick Bermuda, and the Bermuda is wet. It does not like it. It makes this humming noise because the grass gets on the blades. It's kind of weird. Most of these reel mowers are 7 blades, and that's what the average person should have, but this is a 10 blade. And when you take a 10 blade down real short on wet grass, what noise does it make? Ooh! It makes a strange noise because you've got those wet clippings that are not leaving the reel mower. So the clippings are actually staying on the blades and they're staying in that whole process, and it makes a weird kind of noise. So it's probably not the best time to be using the 10 blade. I don't know, we may switch over to another mower because that's just, I don't know, we'll see. But I'm going to take you out and I'm going to show you the 7 blade Greenskeeper model out front, which is a better choice when the grass is good. So I'm switching her over to the True Cut back here. So now she's using the big 27-inch True Cut. It'll just be a lot easier on the unit. It's a 7 blade. It's just going to be a lot easier on the whole unit overall. It'll be faster. We got rain that's going to come in later, so I'm going to go cut the front. Let me show you what I'm doing on the front. You know what I mean? That's not good for a reel mower. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm taking my Greenskeeper 7 blade model out front, and I'm adjusting it. So I tried here, this strip, and it got too brown. Then I came over here and then I dropped it up, moved it up about 1/4 inch, and now I still have a nice green haze over on this part. So that's what I'm doing now. It wasn't low enough for me, so I'm coming back out here and I'm gonna give it another cut and drop it down because I want to keep this low this time. Here we are. We came out here and we cut this yesterday, put down PGF Balance, got rain almost all night, great rain. and man, it's just popping. But I need it lower. I need to keep this lower. So I got my GK model and dropped it down to about 5/8. And you can see that's much better. That's where I want it, right there. Okay, so let's take a minute and let's talk about your grass height for this time of year. Typically we start to see a lot more showers come in. End of August and September, we get that nice growing weather where the temperatures are low 90s and we have, you know, a few thunderstorms during the week. That's perfect Bermuda weather. So that's why I did the front scalp, and that's why we're keeping the back so short. I would say back is 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to try and keep the front at about 1/2 inch. The putting green is, you know, 1/4 of an inch. And I'll keep all these lawns probably about that height all the way until I start to see that cold weather come in. Now, when the 70s start to hit, that's your trigger for Bermuda lawns. If you're cool season guys, you guys are going to be in the reseeding process, and you're going to be in the fertilizing and reseeding process. Bermuda guys were a little bit differently. When we start to see constantly like high 70s, that's when our Bermuda slows down its energy. It slows down its production. And you should sort of say, this is where my lawn's going to be all the way through the winter. It's not going to grow a whole lot at that point. So at that point, you're going to put down your PGF Balance once you start to see those 70s move in. And that's pretty much it. If you see weeds, I'm going to reinforce this again. If you have weeds starting to pop up now, Barb has a little bit of spurge popping up. So I'm going to go over there and do pre-emergent on her lawn. I don't have any weeds. I don't have a single weed in my lawn. So I'm not going to do pre-emergent. When you start to see weeds pop up, that's when you're going to put out your pre-emergent. It varies from person to person. I may not put my pre-emergent down until November. That's when my lawn's going to get weaker and the weeds can actually start to grow up, the cool season weeds like poena. That's the big weed we got to worry about. I'll take you over. I'll show you the putting green. I'll actually do a couple putts on it. Let me walk you over there. I'll walk you over here. I'll show you the putting green. I'll hit a couple putts on it, and then I'll show you Barb's lawn, what it looks like, because that's probably, that lawn looks phenomenal from where it was a few weeks ago. But I cut the putting green twice today. I cut it with one of my normal mowers. And then I took that 10 blade that was struggling and I converted it over to the greens mower. I brought it down to close. So that's what the putting green looks like right now, and it's putting pretty good. So a good example is Barb's lawn. Where it is now, I will just leave it at this height all the way through the winter. So I'm done with changing heights on hers. I've got hers at about 1.25 inches. That's pretty much it. I'm just going to leave it alone now. We'll just keep cutting at 1.25 inches. It's had all of its treatments. The only thing I'll do more to this lawn is as soon as I see temperatures constantly high temps in the 70s, I'll come out and I'll put PGF Balance. Her lawn probably needs pre-emergent here soon too. I am seeing a few pieces like this. Looks like spurge right here, right there. So she probably does need some pre-emergent. My lawn does not. In summation, make sure you follow your checklist. Just get everything you need ready for the fall. Make sure you have it in stock. Start to work on your cutting height that you want to leave it for the fall. Once you get it there, you'll probably leave it there for the rest of the winter. If you need pre-emergent, put it down. Once the temps drop down to the 70s, like 78, 79 consistently, put down a little PGF Balance. You'll be all set. And that's it. Talk to you later. Bye.